So starting with the oven mitts, silicon is quite good, but if you're using a welder's mitt, you really, because it'll burn, they're very thin, it'll burn quite easily. You need to have a rigger's glove on, one that fits well, and then have that inside the welder's mitt. Okay, the other thing you need is a cooling system. So it's simply a white food grade bucket from Bunnings, 20 litres, about $10. You need a flat sieve for the top. It needs to be flat so that the beans can spread out, and mounted inside just with cable ties. Mounted inside is an exhaust fan which sucks the air through, not blows it through, because when you put the coffee in, it needs to spread. If it was blowing any holes, and it'd blow out, and it'd path of least resistance. So that's your cooling system. The bread maker is just there to stir the coffee. You're not going to use the heating element. You put it on dough cycle. The engine is the heat gun. Now I've fashioned a cover for the bread maker, as you can see, and I've got variable heat gun and variable speed as well. We're going to put it on high, but throughout the roast we're going to vary the heat. With a variable heat gun, you can mount it onto the bread maker just like that, onto the bin. If you don't have variable heat, then you have to have a retort stand and hold it up higher. That vent in the top is necessary to take the air away from the front of the nose of the heat gun, otherwise it will melt the heat gun. So sealing quite well, it grips onto that, to the cover, and is self-mounting and self-balancing on top of the bin. So that vent takes the air away from the heat gun, but keeps most of the air around the beans. So now starting the roasting process. See, I always use Coffee Snob's green beans, and so they come in 2.5 kilo lots. Now you need to get the amount of beans that you want, and typically it's about half to a pound, about 300 grams actually. And so just kitchen scales with a light container, you'll be able to ascertain that. And once you've got the amount of beans that you want to roast in your machine, if it's a big machine it might be a pound and a bit, small machine under a pound, but then you make a level so that you don't have to measure it each time. It varies depending on the density of the bean, but there you go. So straight into the hopper, into the bin, and start. Okay. Select dough cycle and go. Start it on a low heat. You want to start it slow, get all the beans up to the sort of the same temperature, and I've marked it minimum, a bit more than ambient temperature, but as you go you'll vary that, and each gun is slightly different, so you've got to be aware of that as well. Just letting it warm up a little. Now we've got a temperature. So we've got a profile of an ideal roast. So we have temperature on the y-axis, x-axis is time, and so up there we've got minutes and temperature as well. got an infrared heat thermometer there, and so as the roast is going, you just take the lid off and fire in, and see we've got the minutes on the bread maker and the temperature on the infrared, and you can vary the variable heat on the heat gun as required. And just fire in through the hole, and you don't have to take it off every time, but with this system you can. So as you can see, there's 4 bins there, 4 bread makers that I could use. Okay, further along the process, we look at the time there. We've got, can't quite see it, but I think it's 3 minutes along. 27, that's 3 minutes off 30. See how we're going, a bit of chaff coming off there, part of the process. So winding it up a bit to warm. That's more like going to be our working temperature. I've got marked on their minimum, maximum, and warm. The newer styles, much better with the dial on the side. A lot more chaff coming out now. Okay, so we're in the first crack zone there. Let's see if we can hear it. First crack is quite loud. So-called second crack is a lot finer. So just taking the temperature. Yeah, it's a bit hot, so we might back it off a little. No, it's right. A lot of chaff coming out now, as you can see. Okay. I'm getting close to the end now. Gun on the ground to cool. Turn the machine off. Quickly dive in and dump it into the cooling room. And not getting nice and flat, and so that air is being sucked through there, cooling them off. Hot air underneath. It was about 220 degrees a few seconds ago, and now I can touch them quite easily. Fairly even actually, and when it's in the cup, actually the unevenness of the roast sometimes adds to it. And you can see that shiny bit of oil on the outside of that bean. Not what I like to see, but there's only a tiny bit in there, so given the unevenness of the beans, that's quite a good roast. And see, I can hold on to them as long as I like now. They're lukewarm to touch, and they've been in, what, all 30-40 seconds.